Yeah, we are live. Hello. Hello, everyone. I'm Chintu Parikh from FinOps. I head up marketing here. And today I have a pleasure of having Anna Curapina. She's head of FinOps and ITAM at ArisGlobal. She comes with a lot of experience in this field. Even she started doing this even before the word FinOps was coined, right? So we're going to leverage her experience and insights leading this field across number of companies. Welcome, Anna, and we'll get into your background in a little bit. But before we do that, I think we are live on not only on LinkedIn, on YouTube, and X. And for like housekeeping, we're gonna have this LinkedIn live for about 30 minutes, 20 minutes of Q&A with Anna, and followed by, if you have any questions, post them as comments on LinkedIn. We'll try to address them as much as we can. That's pretty much it. Anna, welcome.
Thank you
Welcome
so
to
much.
LinkedIn Live.
Thank you.
So today's topic, yeah. I know you have experience across many different verticals and many different organizations, but we're going to talk about more of your recent experience where you are kind of leading the effort in a private equity-backed tech company, right? And this experience is unique because you're kind of starting from the scratch, and you're going to share, like, it will be very valuable for a lot of finance professionals who are starting out, or even people who have kind of matured a little bit into the role to learn from your experience. So why don't we just start with, can you tell us, walk us through your background and how you came into leading FinOps and ITAM at ArisGlobal?
Chintu, thank you so much. And hi, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you, FinOps, for giving me this opportunity. And we'll be talking about really important topics because technology costs go through the roof. And everyone is trying to identify what's the most optimal way to manage the technology spend, FinOps, ITAM, whatever you want to call it. And at the back, I have a lot of different names, abbreviations. They all fit actually this today's session. And most importantly, how do we explain the C-level? And in my case, I had to explain the technology spend to private equity partners. How do we bring the value to the company? So my background, actually, I would describe it and put it into three pillars. First pillar, I have a background in solution and data architecture, developing products that are supposed to help companies to manage their technology spend, deliver product TCO, build a digitalized budgeting forecasting processes on platforms like Apture and ServiceNow. And then second pillar is my IT finance or IT CFO experience, where I was working between CFO and C-level and bringing them together and speaking two languages, financial and technology, to drive value. And the third pillar of my experience is in advising C-level and companies around their cost optimization and cost governance and of technology spend. And of course, what I insisted to keep in the slide is my fun fact, right? I love speed skating, and I had a pleasure to participate in a 24-hour race in France in Bugatti circuit. And you can see an image here, it's like 4 kilometers length. Yes, so...
I roller skated as a kid, but you are the best among the best among the best, right? So that's a cool fact. I'm also looking at, like you mentioned, two different constituents you have to address: the finance as well as the engineering side of the technology side of things. So we'll dive more into it, but it seems like takeaway is not only focus on getting the results, but also communication to your leadership, especially finance, who don't get a lot of the cloud terminology and lingo. Yeah. Yes. So let's get into the weeds, right? So and there are a couple of questions here, right? So when you started at ArisGlobal, right, what did the things look like? And then, and you had mentioned during our conversation, it kind of starts with more. Yeah. So let's start there. What was before and after, and then we can get into some more detail.
So when I took on this opportunity, I was really excited, but also thrilled to learn what is right and what is wrong. And I guess my first weeks, I was running a gap analysis to understand what's happening today. And what I discovered that there was a very limited number of FinOps routines and KPIs in place. And FinOps team was very siloed, and there was not much collaboration between architecture, engineering, cloud ops, and FinOps, which created a lot of barriers, and there was no progress made. But as I was talking to product owners and engineering and C-level, I realized that the company has a lot of great talents and so many passionate people with ideas. So I started writing them down and inviting people to come together and work on FinOps and cost optimization. And another thing that I find extremely important, and I've seen it happen, and I've seen companies where this doesn't happen, is to have the executive sponsorship. And here in ArisGlobal, because there is an influence from private equity, they focus on being really performant and agile and cost effective is really big, right? And you can see that sort of dripping across all departments. So that was a really good thing to have to begin with, right? And as I was going through the modernization or transformation of FinOps processes, I obviously put a lot of focus on setting up the governance processes and budgeting, forecasting, all these usual things that you may hear, right? Aligning on roles and responsibilities, and of course, driving optimizations. So if I had to say from the day we started and to the day when we started seeing the results, right? And cost optimizations and our like P&L, profit and loss, right? CFO started looking at seeing it at the reports level. I would say it took 6 months. So we started at this really reactive place where someone would tell me, Anna, like there's some cost spike somewhere. Can you go and check? And yes, I would have to go and tell my team. Or like I would see, let's say, CloudWatch spend going up on weekends, and I was like, why is it there? Why? Because public cloud should be really low on weekends, right? Comparison to weekdays. And then we moved and we became very sort of forward-looking. We knew what we're spending on. We knew where our weak spots are, what we need to monitor. We started planning more, and we had this kind of we're co-owning FinOps or public cloud spend together with various departments like engineering and architecture. So we were managing it together, basically.
This is a big task. I can see having a framework, and obviously there's a lot more to than just having a framework. The experience that you have probably was crucial in kind of understanding, like, hey, where are the gaps? And then you also have to dive into details. So great way to summarize this. Yes. So this kind of gets into like, okay, so now you have done the gap analysis, you have the strategy. What were like the first few actions that you took? Like you wanted to deliver, like anybody coming into a new role at a strategic level, you want to start showing the impact, right? Because that's what the leadership is expecting you to kind of deliver. And I think we kind of addressed that. So let's get into some of that. How did you deal with that, and what were some of the things you did?
So I started with 3 things. So the first thing, I aligned with our senior stakeholders, right, with C-level, with CIO and CFO, what needs to happen, right? So aligning, understanding what their concerns are, what I need to do, right, to hear from them. The second thing that I did, I set some targets, and this is really important. Target setting to understand your maturity. If you're just starting, right, don't be too ambitious, because you want to set the targets that are applicable to your maturity level, right? And set something achievable, right? As like with anything, like with sports. So that was second thing. And the third thing that I worked on is the prioritization. So you will be overwhelmed with so many ideas and requests from everyone, basically. What you need to do is build a backlog and focus on what's important. And those three things will help you to, stay on top of the waves, right? Not drown, and start delivering results.
Yeah, so you mentioned key things, right? So you said you want to definitely alignment across the finance and technology, whether it's CI or CTO's organization. But you also mentioned like you assessed where the company was, and then you want to set the targets, which have to be a high bar, but they should be in line with where the company was, right? So if you're crawling, you don't want to be just going out and like I want to climb the Everest in the first, right?
And
go to the base camp first and then go. Yeah, map out that whole journey. Yeah.
And also apply the best practice, right? There's a lot of best practice and and being achievable. There's two things. Yes.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, and then yes, we you said governance, which is a big topic around this is more tactical stuff, but you still have to do all of those, right? So to get the allocation right, and you need to get the tagging to once you are in the role, reporting is equally important, and then the most important, like accountability. You kind of set the targets probably by departments, whatnot. So how did you kind of, if you can share some insights there, please?
Of course. So given that we already had roles and responsibilities in place, right? And the product owners knew what their role was, the FinOps knew what their routines were, right? We made sure that all the targets are communicated clearly with each stakeholder, right? The target owner, and we would monitor and regularly review those targets to make sure we are on track. Another thing in the governance place, of course, tagging, it's really important, data quality, especially now with AI and everything. If you get poor quality data, nothing is going to work. So tagging was extremely important for us, for our team. And the way we approach tagging, again, there's so many various tags that you can deploy, but we went with approach, so what? So which tags are critical for us to polish and improve, to give us the data, right? To start giving the value, and always going back to the conversation, what's the value, what the C-level wants, what's the strategy. So that was really important. And I also mentioned a little bit in the beginning, so this catalog, right, of ideas, we didn't kind of eliminate the ideas from everyone. We put them in a backlog, and then we would prioritize these ideas based on how much we can save, and also how difficult it is to realize. So, for instance, production environment optimization there, it's like the customer data is maybe very complex versus going after unused sandbox environments, right? So this is what we spend time on, and this really worked.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I think like it's not just saying tagging. What is really important to tag, and what would be the impact on the business, and what does the leadership want to know, right? Because there you can slice and dice the data in like so many number of ways. So again, a great insight there. So now you have like the roles and responsibility, you are operationalized, you are kind of started kind of walking, right? What is kind of the next? And I see on your slide that as a next phase or automation, right? And FinOps Foundation talks about crawl, walk, run, and optimization, especially automated optimization is kind of you want the things to happen in an automated way so you can continuously rinse and repeat those things. Can you share a little bit about what's next, and especially from an optimization perspective?
Of course, Chintu. So as you can see, one of our pillars is the optimization. And we have worked and we did optimize a great number of It was a hefty number. Everyone was really happy. But of course, as always, you can optimize more. And one of the things we are looking to do is for anomaly prevention, right? Because we are now forward-looking, we are preventing anomalies with alerts, and also it's automation. And also we are looking at automating our RI and savings plans, management, because when you when you start monitoring them and when they expire, and then it's not, you're wasting quite a lot of time, and that could be spent on analyzing and building the future for ArisGlobal. So we're looking into convertible RI optimization and automation with companies like FinOps. And another thing that also we are doing for optimization, and I've had that before, FinOps cannot optimize everything. You must partner with architecture for more strategic optimizations. And while you can do the tactical of cleaning up and everything. So we also partnering with architecture and product owners who can even look into optimizing the code of the product. So what the end product we sell to the customers is more efficient and cost us less to run. So this type of optimizations we are looking into.
Oh, that's a very comprehensive, probably one of the most comprehensive strategy I've seen from an optimization perspective, right? Do go anomaly detection, but automate that so alert goes to the right people who are managing, accountable for those resources, right? Look forward in terms of like, okay, why are we doing some of these things in-house? Should we get tools and solutions to optimize RI and savings plan, right? But also what you touched upon is the whole architectural design, right? Like we should be efficient to begin with, right?
Yes.
It shouldn't be after the fact all the time. Wonderful insights, right? So I think next, this is where a lot of the FinOps is not just about cost savings, right? It's in the cloud is there, so you have the flexibility, allows you to adapt as you move, launch the product and the features like every week. But it's really important to understand, like, hey, total cost of ownership and some of the COGS and percentage of revenue, right? Like high level metrics, so that you kind of deliver. You kind of started like I had two charters, right? Work with CIOs and the CFO. How do you kind of operationalize that, right?
So unit economics is really important because it helps you, again, it's to monitor what you're doing and if you're doing the right thing. And it also helps to communicate with more senior stakeholders about really what's happening, why they're paying so much for the technology, right? And what I'd like to highlight, there's a lot of different KPIs, metrics, whatever you want to call them, flying around. But one of the top things that it's important to identify or calculate is especially for us, because we are product-centric company, right? But everyone is at the moment, right? What's the cost of how much does it cost for me to run a product that we deliver, right? We run and we sell. And another thing that was really key for us to also to model is to understand what exactly, is this efficient, how much we spend, is this the right amount of like paying for this product? And therefore, by delivering those metrics, we can explain CFO what exactly is happening with our spend. And are we healthy,
Yes.
really?
Yeah, so it's really important. I think a lot of the times in today's environment, SaaS products and software products, you have like a free version or a trial, or you have different products. You need to understand like what product is the most profitable. Are we offering the right set of parameters for a free product? Because all of those, cloud is like the biggest part of the cost of revenue in terms of technology, right? Excellent takeaways here. So this is kind of, we are almost at the mark. We can do a few more questions, right? So you're 20 minutes into this LinkedIn Live. Um, so this is like everybody's mind, right? So now you have kind of set the stage, you have set the base, you're looking at optimization. But what about like predictability? Like, how do you forecast? The CFO is going to ask, like, Anna, this is all great, but can I predict? I need to provide investors guidance on what not only my revenue but my cost, right? What kind of things did you do here, please?
So for forecasting, right, budgeting is great, but forecasting is more dynamic, right, and it's telling the better story because you're keeping up. And as we are, SaaS company, we build, we sell. For us, it's super important to align, our forecast, right, with what's incoming. So obviously, understand the drivers of our spend. And here we're talking all the way from what is incoming in terms of the revenue, what optimizations we're doing. So we have, what's our baseline, what products we're going to develop further, and so what we've built like a checklist of things that we look at, and because we are we know our spend so well, we can and we built a very robust system, so we can actually turn this process into a repeatable repeatable process, right? Really easy to do, and we can essentially run it almost every month. We can tell the management where we are, especially in the areas where it's more dynamic.
Oh, this is awesome. So we kind of started, I mean, there's so much we talked about, right? Kind of starting from the scratch. You mentioned there were so many gaps you started with. Now we are like all the way advanced into let me kind of build this forecasting machine, right? Everything is an iterative process, but it seems like you have achieved a lot during, at ArisGlobal. Probably very lucky to have you there, Anna. Um, so yeah, this is kind of getting into we talked about this bit, and I think a lot of uh, FinOps professionals, especially those who are in the early in the career, they focus too much on um, cost and working with the engineering teams. But there's equally important that you talk to the finance side of things, right? So what kind of metrics and language did you adopt at ArisGlobal and in other roles too that kind of resonates with CFOs and the investors?
Okay, so I was really looking forward to the slide because I know it's really important for everyone, not just FinOps leaders, to follow this process. So here, what you guys can see is our kind of key KPIs, and we start always at the bottom. What's our operational KPIs that we measure and monitor? And here you have your all the kind of cloud check, health check, and tagging accuracy, RIs, commitments management. Just to understand that you're managing contracts and everything is in place, right? And your data is good. And then obviously you want to show this to senior stakeholders, but maybe not to very detailed level. And what they want to see is to understand what exactly is driving my cloud spend. And this is where you start. As I mentioned before, we have those in the budget and in the forecasting, we have those drivers. And we basically dissect our spend into drivers. For instance, if I look at my actuals each month and I start seeing what exactly is happening, how much I've saved, optimized, how much, what came out of woodwork. Unfortunately, it could be an official metric. It's something that was not predicted, even though we do try to remove this unpredictable spend and usage as much as we can. But essentially, we start telling a story about what's happening with our monthly spend. And as we go up, right, we, of course, need to tell, and this is where, CFO and CIO will be already, okay, I'm interested, right? I want to understand, okay, here's my actuals, and this is what my budget was. These are the drivers. So what's happening next, right? How will my forecast look now that I had those changes in my spend trends? And as we go further up, right, you will also, we'll be looking, and I mixed this up a bit, but it really doesn't matter. We will also be looking at our spend by product, and spend by product. Remember those wonderful tagging, right, governance that I
Yep.
said. We will always, we build it in such a way, the tags, that it can tell us this story, right? Our product, are we spending too much on production environments, or we still in R&D space, right? So why we stopped being in R&D and now we are, why are you still spending there, right? So we started telling this story, and we're talking with product owners about this. And right, product owners are aligned, CIO is aligned. And then, of course, this is where I start talking and working with finance, commercial finance. These guys, okay, they care about, right, so how much we actually paying for technology that supports our, revenue, cost of goods sold. Some of you may not know, but essentially what it means, and I try to explain here a bit, right? But essentially, how much we spend on technology that is then supports our money generating engines, right? And for us, for ArisGlobal, it's the products like NavaX, for example, right? How much does it cost to run it? And non-COGS is the other things, right? That your engineering, your security. Although you may argue security is required for the customer-facing environments too. There are different school of thoughts, but ultimately we are separating because we want to understand how much we're spending on spend that will help us to make more money, essentially. And now the top thing is the revenue margin. And here, this is where, in my career, I spent so many years building these TCO models with various platforms, right? You get there and you're like, okay, I have my product TCO and everything. So what am I doing next? So what you should be doing next is to speak to your, commercial teams. And what we do, we take literally revenue data for that month, and we look at how much technology spend was. We marry them together, or we divide by one, and we identify what our revenue margin is. So essentially, how much technology spend we need to, how much in one revenue in dollar like we make, how much is the technology, how much we need to take out technology spend. So this is really important because this helps shows the performance of our company as a whole, right? And obviously, this is really interesting because of the PN private equity flavor. This is where they really strongly focused on this, and I find it really interesting because you can work with them and the commercial finance to deliver this, because it really tells a story about technology. And it also then, with the information that you have, you can go and, make right decisions internally.
No wonder you said one of the pillars in your roles, in your background is IT CFO. So you're acting pretty much like a CFO and like, hey, how am I helping company improve the revenue margins, right? Because that has so much impact on the valuation. Company with lower revenue margins is probably going to have a lower value. As you increase that, the value of the company, so the impact is at the investor level, at the shareholder level, right? So very important from a FinOps perspective. I think many times we get carried away and get into like too much detail, but kind of setting yourself at a higher level and see, hey, what I'm doing is really important to the company, to our shareholders, to our customers, everybody else, right?
And you can also explain and motivate everyone, right? Because they can see the value and they can see it all the way up, right? What's happening. So this is really good. Very good.
No, that's important even for internal, like the teams and stuff. Like, hey, the work you're doing is going straight to the bottom line here. Yeah, we are almost to the time, so I'm gonna skip over to the last one. We are almost there. Just let's wrap up this conversation. Excellent conversation today, and I have to say, one of the best I had. If you want to summarize your, so far what you have achieved at Aris, but also in your career, what is kind of that few takeaways for our audience?
So definitely being able to speak both languages, financial and technology, helps you to connect the dots and bring finance and technology talking. This really helped me, and also communicate the information and the value better. Always prioritize. There's so much going on. Without prioritization, you'll be lost or overstretched and you will fail. Always align with all your action, even little ones like optimization, tagging, and everything, with what C-level wants us to do. What's the goal, right? And embrace collaboration and win together. I've been in situations where FinOps is a siloed operations. You're not going to go very far, but winning together, it will only promote the cost optimizations and efficiencies. But I've seen also stories where people get promoted because they actually shined and they saved and optimized, and the management saw. So definitely win-win situation.
Well, I
Thank you
think
so
that's a
much.
key. Yeah, no, thanks. I really enjoyed having you on the LinkedIn, but I think you summarized it really well, right? So you need to, while it's not that easy, it's easier said than done, like speak both the languages, right?
Yes.
Very different skill set and understanding, but it's important, right? And then, like you said, prioritize, and always align to the company goals, and then let everybody see like whatever you're doing is impacting in a major fashion. And then last not but least, this is an opportunity as a FinOps lead or a FinOps professional for you to shine, to move your career, right? But you need to keep all of this thing in mind to make your company successful. If a company is successful, you'll be successful, and if your stakeholders are happy, that's even better, right? So thank you. I think we ran out of time. Thank
Yeah,
you for being here, and like
it's
people
been
know, but
fun.
NOps, we specialize in automated cloud cost optimization, and what Anna mentioned, specifically the reserved instance and savings plan automation. So um, we're happy to help anyone with that. Any questions? And then we Anna has graciously shared her connection information here. So if you have any questions, I know we couldn't take any questions today, but feel free to reach out to her on LinkedIn as well as Google. Oh, we have questions, but I think we are. There's one we can answer. Do you see the question, Anna?
Look for the services that is costing the most, where you can make the highest
Okay.
impact. Go for it.
What do you,
Yes? Is that
what are your thoughts on this?
Oh, my thoughts. We need another session on it. This is great.
Yeah.
So always go with there's suggestions, right? One, go with the services that complex, but go with the services where the service owners are open to collaborate and optimize, right? Because they understand that optimization is key. Sometimes people are afraid to optimize, okay? And another area, sometimes it depends if you want to optimize fast or you have time. If you need to optimize fast, you may want to go for things that are easier and less complex.
Low hanging fruit. Okay. No, that's
Yes,
awesome.
I won't say that this is like a phrase, but ultimately, optimization must be applied across all landscapes. That's true.
Okay.
Whatever you do,
Yes.
go together, right? Never go alone.
Oh, yeah. That's very important. Collaborate, build the team, right? Everything is kind of collaborative in the fashion. Thank you. I think that's we are over time. Thank you. Excellent session. Feel free to reach out to Anna if you have any questions. Sorry, we couldn't take there are a few more, but we couldn't take the questions. Um, yep, that's with that. We'll reconvene again. We would have